Hi, I'm Suki. Welcome to Getting Psychic, where you can listen to me use myself to test the theory that anyone can get psychic. Hello and welcome to Getting Psychic. I'm your host, Suki, and I'm happy to introduce you to Toni Ghazi, the Antarean heart. Toni is a mantis channeler and so much more. Learn all about how this came to be for Toni and blast open your heart chakra while you listen to today's very special interview. Hi, Toni. Welcome.
Hi, Suki. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute honor and privilege to meet you, to meet your audience, to dialogue, to see where life leads us today, and to uncover more another chapter of Toni Ghazi's life.
Yeah, well, it's definitely going to be fun. So, I mean, we have to establish the fact that we just got off of a reading channeling 30 minutes ago. And I'm still kind of buzzing from it. I don't know if you remember any of it, but I was pretty much crying and laughing through the first half of it. Do you remember that?
I don't know if I remember the crying part, but I felt a lot of laughter from inside my gut. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how they described it, but it was just like laughing. Like I don't laugh normally, like when I channel.
Yeah.
But as I'm coming through, I felt like cracking up, which I normally don't like. That's not how I do it. But I kind of resisted. Okay, don't do that, Toni, because I don't know why.
You don't know this lady?
And then for the audience to know, we don't know each other. Like we just met
No.
a day
Yeah.
and a half ago on it was on email.
Yes.
So I knew nothing about her. She knew nothing about me apart from very small things on the website.
Yeah.
So very raw, blank canvas. And but go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to hear your experience a little bit.
No, it was really cool. As soon as you started, I don't know if you did anything to open up your channeling, but as soon as you started, I wanted to just crack up. And I felt that well of in my solar plexus of just bright burning, I want to screech with laughter. But then it was also very, I mean, you said things that were also really emotional, like welcome home, we're so proud of you, like all this stuff. So I'm holding this desire to crack up and just crying. It was so it was really fun, but I was like, oh my god, am I just gonna weep through this whole discussion? It was really cool.
I'm trying to contain myself as you're speaking. No, but listen, what you witnessed was really cool. Because oftentimes, as humans, we only witness or experience one aspect of the emotion. The fact that you were in two awarenesses at once, and I'll bring that to awarenesses later as we talk. With it was one of my a huge huge light bulb moments that I'm expanding, is that you were able to feel the act or the emotions you wanted to cry and laugh out. Like it's a dichotomy in a sense, you know what I mean? So but you were in it in two moments at once. That's special.
Yeah,
That's very
it
special.
felt really good. Okay, so I'll do somewhat of an introduction. So this is on your website, and I'm really excited for people to learn about what you do. Okay, so the first thing that it says on your website is channeling the praying mantis beings from the heart. And I feel like that would stop some people in their tracks. Like, what?
I know. I'm like,
What
what
is
am
he doing?
totally, like you're talking to insectoid beings, like you belong in a mental hospital.
Uh-huh.
Listen, I live in Washington, D.C. I'm a realtor. I sell real estate. I meet people all the time. And I still do. So for me to even say that, I'm literally either out of my mind, don't even live in this reality, to even advertise out there. I talk to insectoid beings, or whatever occurred in my life 2.5, 3 years ago was so visceral that I know what I know. And it's not about having you believe, making you believe. It's just stepping into my own truth and my version and just running fully with it with honor. And that's my story. That's my path. Like, you're welcome to come along. You're welcome to join, hop in
Yeah.
and leave. You're ascended master. You can do whatever. I'm an ascended master. I can do whatever. Really, it's just me following my heart. And I've wondered sometimes, I'm like, should I take the praying mantis out of the body? I can't. I cannot delete that word out of there. I just cannot. My hands, my mouth will not be able to send an email to the web developer, say, take it out. Because I know it's me. Like, I have to fully honor it.
So it says one of my highest excitements and missions on this planet is to bring through high vibrational, heartfelt messages from a wide variety of galactic beings that I connect with using a conduit from the praying mantis beings residing in the Antares galaxy.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to like peel that apart, but I also want to say I told you this when I was introduced to you because you will also be at the Conscious Life Expo, and I am trying to interview more people that will be there. When I was introduced to you, I looked you up and I was like, wow, this is a really handsome man that has designs painted on his face. He's wearing a praying mantis brooch and da 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 da, all of this amazing stuff. But, the 3D sort of ness can come into the picture and be like, oh gosh, what's up with this guy? And so out of like extreme curiosity, I looked up your YouTube channel and I started watching your videos and I was like, either this guy is going to be totally amazing, which you are, or out of his mind, right? Which also anyone could say about me. Who cares? So I start watching the videos and I am physically pummeled with heart exploding energy. Like, no joke, to the point where I watched 3 and I was like, what the shit is going on? I needed to send some of your videos to my buddies and be like, am I losing my mind or are you guys getting this? It was like a 30-pound weight on my heart, but in the most beautiful way. So your energy and what you are doing, channeling from the heart, is very direct and it is very much coming through.
I have chills. Just, I mean, like my legs are like more chilly. If I show you my legs, as like hair, uh, like a porcupine. I want to thank you for speaking your honest experience on how you found me or what you like received from when you listened like to the recordings. Um, because I always wondered, and like the heart on my website is all in red. And if you look at my praying mantis back there, which is also on my website, well, you can't see it; it's there. It has a huge lit up heart here. I'll show you in 1 second. So this is like an AI image that I generated about 3 years ago when I first awoke, and I'm like, and I did 300 like iterations. The moment he showed up, the second he showed up, out of 300 times of trying to figure out AI, I don't use AI much. I knew immediately this is the best like represent, like look at the heart and all the light and
Yeah.
the galaxies within it, and like of course the Antares galaxy is in the back. So when that ends, like sorry about my janky nails, but anyways, that's gonna be fixed tomorrow. uh and it's anyhow. um I knew what I felt, and I will tie it to a past life regression, like in a second or later, of where of like where I met the praying mantis, and I knew in that moment I am heart, or they are heart.
Yeah.
And through all of the channeling sessions I've had, like with clients and on stage, and just my whole like expanded like experience, I began noticing humanity, and it's all part of the process. It's not like a right or a wrong thing. Humanity hasn't understood that yet. Humanity does not understand unconditional love. We just don't.
No.
We know a very tiny percentage of what that intellectual aspect of it means, but we do not comprehend that fully. I'm not claiming I comprehend it like fully. I know now. I know it more than what I thought I did before, because it keeps expanding. The more I think I've reached the level of, wow, I know what unconditional love is, I realize, oh shit, no, what I thought yesterday was unconditional love, like today's even better. So we're always expanding, and we're always evolving. But I would like to thank you for reflecting to me and giving me your experience, because I don't know what people experience unless they share with me, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool you said that. And it gives me more confidence. Not that I ever not confident, but the mind comes in, the ego comes and says, what the hell are you doing? It scares the shit out of you sometimes, but then you snap back into spirit. So, like, thank you for saying the heart, and experiencing the heartfeltness. And a lot of people feel that from many different ways, and they describe it in many different ways. I just appreciate, and I wanted to honor your voice, and thank you for recognizing it, because, and I'm going to tie it 1 second to the insectoid beings. In our humanity, in our mind, insects are scary. I used to be terrified of insects all of my life. I wouldn't come near a cockroach or a bee, or I would run like a girl screaming. So the fact that I'm standing in Washington, D.C., and on the globe stage, whatever the word is, saying I'm talking to insectoid beings, like, that's a big thing for me. I never liked insects. I was terrified of them, but now I absolutely love them. Every part, the more scary it looks, the more honor I have for it.
Mhm.
And it shifted everything. It shifted my whole everything, my whole world. So, but my praying mantis is that I connect with, that frequency and vibration is of unconditional love for all, for everything. It's the integrative force that binds literally our interconnectedness with everything.
Mhm.
Like they said, you are always interconnected with everything, with all. There's never a point within your creation where you are disconnected. You're always connected, you're always tethered with these fibers of energy. And what keeps that connection constantly like connected is the unconditionality of love. Period. Period.
That's amazing. Okay, so we have to back it up. I wanna do building blocks. I want a very foundational understanding of how this started,
Yes.
and I wanna dig a little bit deeper into who and what the praying mantis beings are. So,
Yes.
did you have, um as an adult who is regularly channeling and doing readings and channelings for other people, in your childhood, did you have experiences with non-physical reality, or is this all new?
I love that question because nobody has specifically asked that question like this way. Uh, Look, if I look back right now, I can see like little breadcrumbs along my life, very sparse, where spiritual things happened. But when I was there in that moment, I wasn't aware of it.
Mhm.
Now I can see, because I guess I have like a wider lens and more, understanding. But the craziest thing, so I'm Lebanese, and I'll give you a little bit like of a background, like so your audience can understand like where I come from.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Lebanon, and I moved to the US when I was 15 years old. Zero English, straight to high school. Thanks, mom and
Oh,
dad.
yeah, lovely.
That's another story. As a freshman in high school, I'm like, oh, that's when puberty is happening, and you don't even speak the language. You don't look the same.
Brutal.
Like, totally. But thanks, mom and dad, for the
Oof.
expansion. Anyhow, like we're kids, we learn fast. I'm really good at languages. I love languages. I mean, if I didn't do channeling or like real estate, I probably would speak 100 languages like this. Like my mind's so wired for languages. But anyways, um, and I grew up Greek Orthodox, so like my whole life was Christianity, and I was religious. I wasn't fanatic. Like I wouldn't go to church every Sunday, but I believed in like Jesus and in Mother Mary and in a force out there, in all kinds of saints and in prayers and all that. So that was my whole life until I was 38, 39. So I am 44 now. One little tidbit: I have always stuttered, and like during my childhood till I was 20, I was just awful at school. I loved learning, but I didn't like to be called on, because And like when I would stutter back, go, and
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. So now you're gonna hear as I speak ums and then likes, and my ums and the word like just help me transition, because if I don't use that word, I'll go. The cool part is when I began channeling, I realized for the first time in 42 years, right? Because I began channeling when I was 42, um, that I don't stutter. The first, like when I say I stutter every breath I take, like my whole life, if you multiply 42 years by how many ever days, by how many ever seconds that we've ever lived, that's a lot of time. I'm always aware of me stuttering. I always feel like I'm a prisoner of my own speech. I cannot speak the way that I want to speak. I cannot express. It was traumatic. But when I began chanting, the first time I didn't stutter, I was like, my whole world shook. Like, what do you mean? Like, I tried so many modalities not to stutter. Like, I couldn't believe that I was not like stuttering under the state, and I never stutter under the state. So that was my proof that I ever needed, that whatever just occurred, I'm really channeling.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Lebanon. So to answer your question, when I was a child, like we went to a private French school, like that was in the hills of like mountains, like really pretty and stuff. And like the reason that I'm like describing to you the setting is because like there was a few times where me and like three of my friends saw a witch literally on a broomstick flying in the air. Listen, if I'm the only one who saw it and like nobody else saw it, you could say that I hallucinated. But the fact two, three other people of my friends actually saw it too, like what's the coincidence? And the whole talk began, and like some believed, and then like some didn't believe. So in retrospect, going back into my whole history and like memory, and I remember what I remember. Who knows? There's probably a million things happened that I don't remember. But like that was one like incident. How can I forget that? And that's very spiritual and that's very like paranormal. But I forgot it.
Yeah.
Let's. I'm gonna bring it back to like the praying mantises. I thought I never had a connection with them because I was because I was always afraid of
Yeah.
insects. We used to go to my grandmother's home every summer because we lived in the city, and my parents like will drop us off like when school finishes, and like we spent 2 months with my grandmother. Like she had olive fields, and like we made olive oil, and but around her house, like around her house, on plants and everything, praying mantises everywhere. She would talk about them as being like bearers of good luck and great prosperity, like good like juju with these insects. And we loved our grandmother. We loved going there. It was like the most like fabulous time. How can I forget such a memory? Totally forgot until I had a past life regression when I really like reconnected with him, and then the memories began like flooding in of that. I'm gonna fast forward to high school when we moved to the US. And um and on the wall of my bedroom, like was the X Files, if you remember the X Files,
Hmm.
all about aliens. And there's a picture above the X Files, like with I think Mulder and I forget like the woman's name now,
Scully.
Scully. Thank you. Of an alien that like the government had captured. That's a real picture that's all over the internet now, but like they use as part of whatever above my bed. I totally like, and I was 15 years. Like, how can I forget? Like, honestly, Tony. But like things like this, where your memory either gets wiped or whatever happens. So it's always been along my life. But then again, I'm speaking of all these memories when I was 42 and I remember them. But in the moments, I don't know where I was, what state I was in. So to answer your question, yes, there've been all these little breadcrumbs, and specifically the praying mantis and my grandmother's house that I totally forgot about. All those like flooded in after the first spice life regression that I've ever had, um, that reconnected me like with them. And and I had a point when I was 39, 40 years old, even 41, when I was kind of beginning like awakening, but not knowing what was happening,
Hmm.
where I had a moment because I had a whole like altar like behind me, but upstairs, on this table with like Mother Mary, like in like Jesus statue, and like Saint Anne and Saint Charbel from Lebanon, and Saint this and Saint that, all kinds of icons, and I bought all kinds of expensive, what do you call them? Like relics, where like they say, oh, like this is from like a piece of wood where Jesus um, uh, um, was
Crucified.
um, yes. Thank you. The word wouldn't come. The stuttering was coming in. Or the saint was like born or like shrouded. So I had all these things that were so holy, and I would, and I would pray for them. And I woke up one morning when I like began awakening, and I had a feeling that, and I'm describing it in more elaborate words now, like when it was like being evolved, then I was confused on how to search for the words. But the best way that I can describe it is I put all my energy and power into all of these statues when I like somehow realized they are truly within myself. But now I had to struggle to get rid of the statues. You can't throw them away. You can't trash them. You can't donate them. Are you abandoning them? You can't store them. Are you kidding me? How can you store a holy? Like I had a traumatic, maybe like 2 months going back and forth. What should I do with these things? Because I just felt they don't belong here and anymore. But eventually, I came to a peaceful state that the object is just an object, and it's just my definition of what they represent that's already within me to kind of connect with. And I ended up storing them, and I'm happy to donate them, but haven't had time to like give them away. So they're stored like very nicely in a nice velvet case, and they have a cute home and blah blah blah. And then COVID hits. This is where I awaken. This is really when my awakening like blossoms. I didn't know what was happening. And of course, like during COVID, like the first few months, like the whole world shut down. We didn't know how we're gonna like conduct business, what's the proper way, all these rules and regulations. So I had time to watch TV. Like when I'm super busy, I'm working 12 to 15 hours a day or more. I just didn't have time to watch TV before. All of a sudden, I think I downloaded the channel named Gaia on it's a whole metaphysical thing about meditation, about quantum physics, the paranormal, life after death, all the woo woo stuff. Now I don't know any woo woo stuff out there, so like for me to sit there and search for a woo woo show, I just don't know it exists, so I couldn't search for it. All of a sudden, crazy synchronicities, shows would appear, suggested that I would start playing, and like one of them was the interview with Extra Dimensionals with Ruben Langdon, who's a dear friend of mine now. I was obsessed. That show was all about channelers. And these people have been channeling like since the 1980s and, long, long time. And he was on his show. He had like 12 episodes or 8 episodes each one. And he had about 24 guests. And I was just entranced, the best word, with that whole concept. Now, listen, I'm understanding the English of what's being said, but no context whatsoever how it fits in. It's so out there. Like the fact that this is human is through him are speaking these entities, and then you get into the types of entities, insectoid or Pleiadians or Arcturians or light beings or angelics, and you're like, I'm trying to make sense out of it. I'm very basic trying to understand English, but I watched that show probably 6 times, each episode 6 times, trying like over and over again to understand contextually what it means. I couldn't, and I stopped. It was like 2 months of watching it, and then like work began again, and I got busy again, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, when we all awaken, you don't awaken one day and you're, you know everything. It's sprinkles and here and there. So the first year, 2000, because 2024 now, 2022, 2021, the first year was just like I would awaken for one day where I would watch a show and get excited and crazy excited for 5 or 6 hours, and I go back to 3D reality. 3 months later, I would watch another show. I get excited again. It's small like activation. I go back to 3D reality for 2 months or 3 weeks. So small like little like sprinkles. And then my cat dies that lived with my ex boyfriend, and he like reached out to me and said, hey, like, do you know any animal communicators? So I go online and I just Google, and I found a few, but they had a year-long wait. I'm like, we can't wait a year to like bring him some peace. And I found this woman, Stephanie Light, and we had a session with her, amazing session with the cat. And then she says towards the end, crazy, oh, by the way, I offer channeling classes if you're interested. Are you kidding? We didn't even talk about channeling. We're talking about the cat dying, and my ex-boyfriend is just like feeling so sad, and how can we help him? And immediately I'm like, okay, let's give it a
Yeah,
try.
obviously I'm doing that.
So of course, duh. But of course, I felt very insecure. I didn't know what was going on. I thought everybody else had gifts. And as I'm watching Ruben Langdon's show, I'm disempowering myself with every second I'm hearing. I'm like, wow, they're powerful. They were born with a gift. They can do this. They can do that. I cannot. I cannot. I cannot. Like the mind. The mind plays those tricks that you're not like them. And I take the channeling class, and immediately, the moment where I don't stutter within my consciousness, I know. And my stuttering was huge in my life and still is. I knew immediately whatever happened, I don't care if you call it channeling, woo wooing, you pick the word. Israel, and it got me so excited, and I just jumped with it, and I began practicing, and I took her 6 week course, and it was great. And then through that course, I met a friend, Nicolette Morgan, whom you'll see her like with me on like the event, and she's a great channel, and she channels all kinds of being and a great healer. We began practicing every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to midnight, just for fun, just for the hell of it. And we also had Mike Shower. He's another friend that was taking another of Stephanie's class. He wasn't in our class, but we all converged together, and we began just practicing, just playing around, not thinking I'm going to be a channel, not thinking it's going to be a business, it's going to be my new path, just being excited that, oh my God, I can channel like Bashar, I can channel like all these other people that I saw on that show. And we would just laugh and joke and create and imagine and like banana boats and crazy shit in our mind comes. Just fun. But little like do you know, as we're channeling, information is coming through. Like I know my mind. I know the articles I've read. I don't read books. I try to read. I have so many friends that are like, oh my God, I spent the weekend and I read Harry Potter, like 20,000 pages or whatever. I try to read 3 pages. I can't. I'm auditory. And I struggled with that. Like something is wrong with me. Why can't I freaking read a book? Now, okay, like back in college, you read what you have to read and you skim through it for the hell of taking the test and acing the exam and move forward. Not because I had the desire to read. So I judged myself throughout my life. Like, but so the point like that I'm saying is I don't read is to connect it like to the idea is when I began channeling and began became aware that information is coming through is not in the bank of my mind. I don't read fantasy books. I can't imagine crazy things that we don't see on TV and stuff we like read on the internet. To me, it was my proof that whatever was coming through was not from my mind. It was coming from some other source, dimension, entity, however you want to describe it.
Yeah.
And and when I would come out of the channeled state, I would see a clear contrast of like when I open my eyes, right? Because I channel like with my eyes closed. When I open them, I'm like, it's just no wow, I'm back in my body, I'm back in this reality. Wherever I was here, I don't know where I was. It was in this body, it was in this reality.
Hmm.
And then it just like evolved from there. I'm a great sleeper. I sleep super deep and sound. I get up, I can pee and go to the bathroom 5 times and go straight back to bed. I can cat nap if I want. If I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a nap and go, and I wake up 20 minutes later and I'm awake. Never had issues with sleep. When I began awakening, all of a sudden I'm up at crazy hours like 111, 555, 444,
Oh, really?
and some I swear to God, in between. And I have pictures on my phone and thousands of them just to like, oh my God, look, people, you know. But I would wake up, cannot sleep for 3 hours. Like my body's exhausted. I'm like, I have to go to work tomorrow. I have to begin my day at 6 a.m. And I'm like, I'm trying to be on Instagram, just passing time just to my mind could go to sleep. Watching TV, oftentimes I would go back to Gaia and watch TV exhaustingly, those esoteric quantum physics, just for the hell of it, until I fall asleep. But I realized after a while that when I am up and I can't sleep, that's where the downloads are happening.
Mm.
I got images, I had intuitions, I had ideas that came up. One of them was which create a decal and place it on the back of your car as you drive around Washington, D.C., this conservative, political, everything else town, the United States capital. While you drive your clients with you, like showing them houses, and a lot of them are brand new clients I just met. They don't know me, I don't know them. But put on the back of your car that you talk to aliens and you channel and create a website immediately and say that you are a channel. I've been a realtor for 10, 12 years. Not one time have I been called to place a sticker or a decal or anything of the sort that I'm a realtor. So my car is empty. It's just a car driving around. So, like one of those nights, I'm up. I mean, I don't know how to create a decal. I'm not a car manufacturer. Like, how do you create decals? Anyhow, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just sharing with you all the questionings that happened. Like, where do I begin to create a decal? Like, what the hell? So anyhow, I like finally figure it out, and who knows the dimension that like it's crazy how it all unfolded. And I find one, and that's what I put on the back of my car.
Okay. Oh my god, that's huge. Okay. The Antarean heart, channeling extra dimensional beings, spiritual guide. Okay, Tony, that is huge. It's his whole, you're not gonna see this on the podcast, but it's his
Yeah.
entire back windshield.
And I have aliens, I have praying mantis, I have Bigfoot, I have
Eh,
like alien faces all like blinked out. And it's really funny like that you say that because in my mind, like this is what a decal should be. Like my friend said, that's an advertisement, buddy. That's not even like it's not one thing, it's a whole. But
that's
listen,
not a bumper sticker. That is
thank you. That's like a whole paragraph.
that's like your car was wrapped. Okay.
Totally. I wrapped the back of my car with these words. And now, and this was July of 2023, which was not too long ago.
No.
And I'm just driving around. And of course, the mind would come in. Oh my God, you're going to be stopped. People are going to make fun of you. Like, who knows? The most magical experiences I had, especially with children. This big SUV, this big Suburban, I was at a red light and like the Suburban like pulls up with all the windows down and blaring music. And I'm thinking it's like college kids, right? Because we live next to American University. So there's a lot of college kids. I'm like, oh, okay, like they're having fun and blasting out loud. And I look to my right and these two girls with their mom, the mom was blasting music for them. They're like 13 years old, freckles on like their face, like redheads with like two what do you call those things on the side? Pigtails. Twins looking out, screaming at me because they saw the alien face and saying, I believe, like I have children now. I believe, or we believe, we believe, we believe. And like they drove in front of me the whole time they're in front of me because we drove behind each other for a while on the street. The whole time they're looking in the back. They jumped from the back seat into the back of the Suburban saying, we like magical. And I knew then, and like look at the chills
Yeah,
on my
same.
hand. And I knew then that whatever I did on the back of my car is a beautiful activator. And I have people honk, even to the point recently twice, I had two like Hispanic Americans um, honk the car, and he would pull out a Bible, both of them in 2 week period. This is the first time it happened in a year and a half. Would like pull a Bible, says, "You know Jesus?" I'm like, "Yes, Jesus in my heart." He's like, "No, Jesus." Like he's not comprehending what I'm saying. I'm like, "Yes, I am Jesus. You are Jesus." He's like, "Nope, Jesus is out there. He's in the Bible." And I was reflecting on like what was really occurring because he couldn't comprehend when I said Jesus is in my heart because everything is within us, nothing is exterior. But we're so taught Mother Mary, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, any like religion is outside of ourselves. So we're always searching and running behind them when it's within us. So no way of activation where they got triggered. This person got triggered for a reason, witnessing and reading whatever he read. Perhaps he saw the alien, thinking it's not holy, it's not divine, to the point that he had to pull out the Bible and say, "Do you believe?" As if I'm believing in some devil.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I had to honor his journey, and I had to just tell him, "He's in my heart. He resides in my heart, and I am Jesus." And we all, like we all parted ways. But this car decal advertisement was my, I know, right? Was my declaration because like my husband was like, "What are you doing? You're gonna have clients with," and I help people from all corporate America, all over the world, international. I help World Bank clients that come from every denomination, every religion, every culture. Beautiful, beautiful. When you know, it's amazing. And he said, "You're gonna be driving all." I'm like, "Yeah, babe. Like, it doesn't matter what you tell me. Like, I cannot not put that decal on." But one of the most beautiful discussions I've had with all my clients as we are touring houses. And it's not about me having them believe what I believe or them making me believe what they believe. We just begin it because the first thing when they come in my car, they see that and they immediately question, "What is that?" And this is cool, or like, "Give us more." We have this beautiful dialogue about spirituality, religion. If you're Christian, if you're Buddhist, if like you're Muslim, it's this beautiful exchange of information from each person's perspective, each culture, each language perspective. not one time have I had an uncomfortable like discussion, and everyone is so supportive, like, oh my god, this is cool, like go for it. And then I explain to them now that I go to all these events. So all these events like that I've been since last November, an event every month, and I have one till next August. I had no clue about these events, zero. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. Like I didn't know there are events about spirituality and aliens, and you only see the things on movie and TV, and that's all my world was. Um, and then like a friend of a friend says, "Oh, like have you heard of Disclosure Fest?" I'm like, "No, I had no clue what the word disclosure really meant then. Now I know it's disclosing about UFOs and aliens and beyond." And I'm like, "Wow, this is really cool." So I'm proactive. I'm a manifestor. I always get things done. Like, oh, this is cool. Let me call the owner or or the whoever owns this thing or whoever is the founder. Just connect with them and see if you can like build a relationship. So I called Adrian. He's the founder of Disclosure Fest. A month before the show was happening, and this is a big show that people plan for a year, and etc. It was happening in Las Vegas, and I'm calling him or connecting with him just to ask him, say, hey, look, I just awoke. I talked to the immense beings. I'm trying to like sell myself to him as I'm not Bashar. I don't have 40 years experience. Like I'm a newbie on the scene. Are you willing to, if we can work together, if I can channel live? And I haven't channeled for people then. It was just me and at home, like practicing with Nicolette. So I haven't done it for the public. I haven't had private channeling sessions ever, zero. But I'm just calling him, not expecting him to say anything beyond. I was expecting to say, okay, cool, it's great to meet you. We'll stay in touch. And I'm not a famous guy. Like,
Yeah.
why would he say that? Literally within 5 minutes, I swear to God, within 5 minutes, he says, stop. He said, when I began this journey about 30 years ago, he said spirits like told him, you'll know which vendors or which speakers to invite for this event. This event's been going on for a long time. It's his passion. And he said, you are in. And I'm like, I'm like, yes, I can't wait to see you next year. Da, da, da. He's like, you're in next month. I'm like, I have chills. Like, I'm like, listen, I wanted to channel on stage. I'm really like courageous, but when he said next month, I shit in my
Yeah,
pants.
that's
Like,
terrifying.
oh my god, I'm like, oh, I haven't even channeled for a human, let alone on stage, and I don't have like signs. I don't have anything. Like, I don't even have a bio. Like, I don't even know what I probably had, just like very basic website then. And that literally his willingness to hear spirit, however he described it to me, that he trusts spirit, to invite me to do this, gave me so much confidence and just courage to just. And I was on stage channel. I can't speak now. Stage channeling in front of 60, 70 people. Like, because I have little rooms, and they have the big stage like reserved for Bashar and all these big boys, which I'm totally happy. You can put me in a bathroom in that channel, I'll be happy, no problem. It doesn't matter where I am. That just lit the fire inside of me. But I also heard the universe, and I began seeing the whole little things that I've told the universe, I'm ready, I'm ready. And the universe said, okay, you're ready. Here's a door open, do it. And from then on, I would, at those events, they would say, oh, and people like would look at me because the way that the way that I chose to wear the outfit, I actually like bought that outfit 2 years ago. And I wanted to wear that outfit when we channel and practice only for me. I wore it once for an hour, and it sat in my closet for 2.5 years. Never wore it once until I went to that event. That outfit, my energy, I don't know, and however I was doing, people would like come up to me and assume I'm going to be at LA Conscious Expo. That's how I found out about LA Conscious. Would assume I'm going to be at this expo. Through the people that come to your booth, it's assuming you've been doing this for years. I'm like, no, I just like, and then I would call each event and like they would accept, and I have some that they were, and so it's just been a magical ride of unbelievable. I mean, I would travel like once a year on vacation, like with my husband. I've had 12, 14 trips this year.
Mhm.
Like every month I'm traveling for a week. And I've had a few months where it was like 2 or 3 times. And it was crazy when you travel that much. I'm like, okay, I can't do it. It's a lot. So this is a quick kind of history, like for you, for you guys, of how kind of where I came from, quickly awoke, um, and my acceleration was speed very
That's a
fast.
super rapid expansion. Can I ask you,
Please.
in regard to the sticker on your the back of your car, you were called to do that, you listened, and it says that you are a channel, but and that you take appointments, but you literally had never done that at that point?
Never. Never for only with Nicolette, only with Mike, where we practiced
Yeah,
like for 4 hours just as a joke, and we have all those. I have not done it for a client. Like,
I love it.
like this is the crazy aspect of it. Is like, how dare you put that on there? But it's not. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't a mind that was allowing me to do it. It was just knowingness. No expectation, no. I mean, look, when Nicolette um and Mike and I would practice, because like we've listened to Bashar, we've listened to all, of course we would joke and say, yes, we're gonna be on the road, we're gonna channel, we're gonna be on stage, like, but this is coming from an egoic mind of
Yeah,
like fear and not believing it will even happen.
yeah.
Like, but like Nicola would remind me of Tony, when you said it, you kept, because I would keep saying it, guys, watch me, we're gonna be on stage. I'm saying it, but not really expecting truly for it to unfold. Maybe 10 years later, maybe some long time later, but the way it unfolded was just
Instant. That's crazy. Okay, so
very.
when you did that first, live performance without ever doing it outside of your house, were you nervous? What was that like for you?
The funny thing is, I thought I like would be nervous, and look like keep in mind, like for a human that stutters and has struggled stuttering,
Yeah,
speaking on stage is the last thing you want to be. I mean, like people have like fear of stage fright, even if you don't stutter, like speak fluently.
yeah,
You add that aspect. Like I thought I was gonna. I mean, I needed Nicolette there and Mike, right? Because they joined me on. I needed them to have some mental support, not to crumble and not to like. Because like when I stutter at times, like I stutter, I go into tunnel vision, I sweat,
yeah,
I'm like completely freaked out, and my mind locks. Like not a word's coming out now because I'm in debilitating fear. So that came through. The funny part is, and like when I sit down, I'm like on a chair, and even here as I'm like speaking to you, like me sitting down on chairs, or even in like the car, like when I take calls, because on stage I was, on a chair. I always, with my experience with stuttering, I feel trapped.
yeah,
Uh, and if I like walk and talk, it's good for me because the walking, the motion, I can extend my arm. It helps me. Um, Extract word out of my mouth when I get stuck. But when I'm sitting, I don't feel like I can move my legs and I can, it's to me, I created a story that I'm trapped. So the fact that on stage we're sitting on these chairs, I didn't know how I was gonna like, and people would ask questions in the beginning. They want to hear your story. And the surprising part, I did not stutter a lot and I didn't feel afraid. And I knew then that this was my place, this is my home right now, because now I'm realizing as I expand, I'm shifting and I'm evolving, and so I may be a praying mantis channel now for the next few years, and I know I might as well I may most likely will evolve into another version of me that I don't even know, because if I look back like 2 years ago, I could not have imagined what unfolded, how it unfolded, the magic, the my versions of me. Like, so how can I know that 3 or 4 years, how can I sit here and say I'm a praying mantis channel for the rest of my life? I don't know that. And I've owned, and my eyes is a bit like fluttering. It's never done that. But I don't know. Vision. Maybe my vision is opening. Um, but now I've owned the not knowingness of who I truly am, and the not knowingness of where I'm led, and the not hanging on to the label that I am the praying mantis channel.
yeah,
For now, I am, but I'm open to evolution.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
Okay, I want to talk about who they are, who the
yeah.
praying mantis beings are, and I also
Okay.
want to discuss the concept of them for you being a conduit of other galactic beings.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
who are they, Tony?
So who are they? So during my first past life regression, and I'm gonna give this image for you guys because this is very visceral and it's like very relevant. So as I'm awakening that first year when I'm watching Ruben Langdon's show and I'm learning about quantum physics and all these esoterical terms and things, um, there's a thing called past life regression where like you get hypnotized, and through hypnosis you can remember past lives or future lives or whatever. My first one, immediately when I go under and I'm under hypnosis, a face of a praying mantis come through, like just like the triangle or triangular head, and it was like this: flash, flash, clear as day. And back to your experience, that you experienced the crying and the laughter within that flash of the praying mantis head. I was also in it in infinity. There was timeless, two awarenesses at once. Never felt that before. It was the most amazing experience. I knew that I connect with them with that first image. The next image that came through, a quick flash, is of the silhouette of this humanoid body. You see a head, you see shoulders, arms straight down, long, like 30 feet high, all light. And I knew immediately, and I received a download that we are appearing to you in this human silhouette like format, because your mind is able to comprehend what it is seeing. Because if we really come in our pure essence, your mind will just not be able to put the pieces together on what it's looking at. It will be like a static TV. When like TV goes, it's like shh, it's like it doesn't know like what it's looking at. So as we come through like the body silhouette of this humanoid like figure, the light that's emanating, the vibration that's emanating out of it is going to allow your body and energy to acclimate to our frequency. And then little by little you'll begin to familiarize yourself how we feel, and will begin evolving and allowing you to see more of who we are. The third image, and like the last image, is of this heart. I was inside of a heart um, that was sliced. If like there's a slicing machine, like those egg machines, like you put an egg in, right?
Yeah.
Like those wires where it slices them.
Yeah.
It was very thin slices of a heart into infinity. Each slice was all faceted, but there was a specific thing about those facets, the clarity of the facets. Like if you've seen like a crystal clear, I mean, this is a crystal, but whatever crystal you've seen that is clear, the clarity that I experienced of each of those facets was beyond the clarity that we can even comprehend. It was intelligence of pure clarity. So again, all these layers, all like faceted within the infiniteness that goes on forever, there's like a midpoint of some sort, a grain of light, like a sand of light, a tiny little dot in the middle of this heart. And I heard immediately, all of you, all consciousnesses, all animals, all plants, all lives, all humans, all aliens, all planetary bodies, rocks, rivers, everything, consciousness. You are so powerful. You do not need a flame or a bonfire or a volcano or a massive fire to remind yourself of your power. All you need is a drop, not even a drop, a grain, a speck of your infinite power to remind yourself of who you are. That little speck, like, emanated a small ray of light onto the one facet, to the next, to the next. I'm getting chills again because I'm reliving it into the infinity of all those facets, creating this Merkaba of light. And I knew immediately, like, look at the chills and how my arms. And I knew immediately, I am love because they showed me the heart, and I am light. Oh my God, this is like, I mean, I'm like porcupine right now. Immediately, I knew it, and after those three successive images that happened so fast, but yet they were so long, nothing can shake me away. And I emerged, and like more things like came on during the past life regression that are like non-mantis related. But when I emerged like out of the past life regression, I had a knowingness nothing could shake. Nothing. Now, it's always nice to confirm by another psychic or another like galactic reader to just, I see in you a man that's like, yes, that's what I saw in my past life regression, because that was my first piece of information. I knew it, but the mind's playing tricks. So I have a session with Debbie Solaris, who like was on Gaia, and I don't know how many months I had to wait to get her session. The moment we connected, she said, "You come from the Antares Stargate. I know nothing about horoscope. I don't follow horoscope. I don't know the stars. It's just not my
Yeah.
thing. I didn't know it was an actual like planet. It's a star in our solar system, called Antares." And she said, "You are one of the gatekeepers of the Antares Stargate, and that's where the praying mantises emanate from."
Wow.
That's all she had to say, and the rest was like, I don't need more confirmation because she is quite credible. But I didn't really need her to remind me because I already had my experience. But it was nice to hear it from another source. But now, here's the crazy aspect of the more that you embody and accept and receive and be that new version of you. I've been in Washington, D.C. like since 1995. So to 2024, what is that, 30 years something? I don't know what the math is. Not one time. And I look and I travel and I show houses and I'm in forest and I'm always in different neighborhoods. So if there's any chance for me to see a praying mantis insect, I probably will be the one to would see them because I'm always outside showing things and I'm in yards and you know what I mean? And I go to nature too. Not one time in all those years have I seen a praying mantis insect. The moment I began connecting with them, all of a sudden they're appearing in the back of my yard. I'm showing houses. They're on the lockbox. So as like real like we have I swear, and I mean like I have photos on the lockbox where you leave the key, and I have my own real estate card that I put in. I punch in a code to retrieve the box will open, the keys in there. We go inside the house. On the lockbox where I want to enter the card is a praying mantis. I was on the 12th floor. I swear to, and I have pictures of everything. I was on the 12th floor like, of a building. There's not a plant on the 12th floor. There's not a balcony. It's just sky and air in this building. Specific time when we entered like the unit, like to show my client this condo, a praying mantis is sitting on the screen. So now this is just like praying mantis insects saying, "Dude, if you don't believe us, we're giving you all these hints that we are here that you connect with us." Then all of a sudden, light ships appear over my house over a course of 3 months during the daylight. It's like we had cicadas back in 2022 or three, where like they emerge and beautiful beings, where they're like amazing sound that they emanate. Anyhow, like during like that time, the first light ship I saw, and I have it all recorded. I have like videos all on my website. And I just get called to look up in the sky. And I mean, the sky is vast and it's sunny and it's beautiful. And it's blue with a few like speck of clouds. It was clear. And I'm looking up and I see this little twinkle. I'm going like, and look how silly. My mind thought the following. It's aluminum foil that, I swear to God, this is exactly what I thought. Aluminum foil flying in the air. Like, I didn't even think, how can an aluminum foil exist in the like, unless somebody from an airplane threw an aluminum. But then I'm like, wow, for aluminum foil to produce such light, it must be like a city, like it must be massive. Anyhow, and I'm looking at it, and I grab my phone and I start like filming and zooming in, and I'm also like zooming out to show people because I'm excited now. Like I want to show my husband how far it is, this light ship that's brighter than the sun, like so if you look at the sun, it's like yellowish and in like color. This was kind of yellowish, but a bright white yellow. There's whiteness in it, like going like this, and as it's moving, it's completely disappearing. It's like becoming a sphere of like silver. It's disappearing again. It's becoming light. 3 times they came that I recorded. And I knew immediately that they were the praying mantis light beings, or they're allowing me to see that I'm seeing beyond. Of course, I called my channeling. I tried. I have so many sessions with channelers in the beginning because I didn't believe I could do
Yeah.
it. That I would ask them, and they confirmed.
Yeah.
Right now, fast forward like 6 or like 7 months later, I get called to watch those movies like again, and I'm watching them again, and all of a sudden I feel called to pause the movie and move it frame by frame on like the iPhone, which we all can do. Like, why would I even do that?
Oh,
Like,
you're
all I
watching your recordings of your tinfoil?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And I hit pause, and I'm just moving it like frame by frame, and all of a sudden, 3 UFOs whiz by, which they have always been there, but I didn't know. And they were so fast that you couldn't see them on. As you hit play, you had to hit play, pause it, and now the screen is paused, and you move it screen by screen, like frame by frame, and you see the progression of UFO this way, UFO that way, other light ships that are pew, pew, pew,
That's
movie after movie after movie.
that's insane.
Then It's crazy. And then I get called to go outside at night. Like, I'm not a camera guy. I can barely function an iPhone, let alone a camera. So I get, and it's 111, by the way, here, just to say. Um, and I get called to go outside at night and begin like watching the stars. And I'm like, okay. And then through like synchronicity, this ad comes up. There's um, a night vision camera. So I get called to purchase a night vision camera and go outside at night and begin like filming. And literally, I would wake up in the middle of the night. Again, it's all one of those like nights where I wake up and I can't sleep and I know I have to go outside and look.
Mhm.
I have stars that are doing Morse codes for me.
Yeah.
I have a V-shaped chip over my house, fly. I have orbs, massive orbs, like multicolored, smooth, no sound, under the clouds, in the middle of of like the night. Ships that are whizzing like, and they're so far away and they're so fast. You know, it's not a plane. And I have also all kinds of footage of planes on purpose for you to clearly see it's a
Yeah.
plane. It's a plane, and it's always flashing. Those things aren't flashing.
Wait, so you have these videos on your website?
So I have a few. I mean, I have like over 50 videos like on my
Yeah.
Dropbox, like, but I have the light chip like on there, and I think I want to like upload like a few. I'm gonna have a section where I have a few of like the videos that like people like can watch, and I'm gonna have somebody like who can kind of zoom in more, because I only used an iPhone when
Yeah,
these
yeah.
things happen. And like the night vision, so I'm gonna have them kind of like do some cool things on the computer where they can zoom in so people can see
Yeah.
a bit more and clearer, so you have a much better experience. Um,
That's crazy.
so all that began happening, and I mean, how can you now, after all these experiences, walk down the street not questioning and not knowing that what you thought the world was, what society tells you the world isn't? Like,
Slightly
these are
different. So
very,
how did
very.
your husband respond to all of this? When did he try to have you committed?
So look, one good thing about my husband is he's not very needy. Maybe I am needy sometimes, but anyways, he always lets me do my thing. He questioned a few times. He observed. Um, he said, "Okay, honey, don't go out there and, and like under his breath and like kind of tell everybody that you talk to aliens,
Yeah.
like, things like that, like little hints of like I'm supporting you, but I'm scratching. You know how you scratch yourself with uncomfortableness,
Yes.
like I'm scratching myself, you know." But he's also a big soul, and he's realizing, and he's part of my. We're both part of are both away.
Of
So,
course.
and like over time he's expanded, he's open, he's been to a few of my shows, he believes in
Yeah.
aliens, he's had his own experiences. Oh, and sorry, and I'm kind of like veering off for one moment. And also in the house, and like when I travel, I get called to like use my iPhone with the flash to begin just recording at night in rooms, orbs of light. Beyond that, I want to show you right now, and your audience may not be able to see it, but I just want them to hear your reaction of, I mean, there's all kinds of clear orbs, and they're not dust, guys. They're not insects. We don't have dust in our house. We don't have insects, believe me. They're clear as day, and there are thousands of them. But on that day, I ask it to come closer to the camera, and I literally say, it's like a 4 minute footage, but I'll only show you like the part where um, um, like where it comes. So I was talking to them saying, guys, you guys are like so fast, and like, look, our technology is not smart enough to capture you. Can you please come closer and dance, like, and then dance in front of the camera? You're gonna hear my reaction because I freak out. And my husband that night's like, what's happening? I'm like, Craig, you gotta come down. I went nuts. And look at this. Okay, so I'm gonna hit
Okay,
play in
so
a
we're
second.
looking at the night sky?
No, sorry. No, like this is like inside my
Okay,
house, in our living room, like during Christmas, where I get called to begin filming with my
I
iPhone
see.
with the flash on because something's gonna be
Okay,
caught.
okay,
A lot of things were caught, but this is like this is the masterpiece.
okay. Pull it back a little. Okay, we're good.
Oh yes, oh yes,
Look.
oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes,
Oh,
oh yes, oh yes. I see you, I see you, I see you. Hi, 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 hi. Oh my God.
What the blank is that?
yeah, that was crazy, and you're not moving the camera at all.
I'm sitting on an old recliner on an old. So my husband loves antiques. I'm not big about antiques. So we have this little rocking chair that's cute and nice. So I was just sitting on the rocking chair, just filming.
Yeah,
This is exactly what I was doing. Now look again.
Oh yes, 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 oh yes. I see you, I
Oh,
see you, I see
wow.
you.
That is
Hi,
insane.
hi, hi, hi. Oh
Hi,
God,
hi.
hi.
I'm like in shock. Like,
Yo,
what else do I say to this
yeah.
being? I'm like so
Your
overwhelmed
husband
by
was probably
emotion.
like, "What are you doing down there?"
He literally, yeah, exactly. I'm having some
Yeah, it
orgasm. He's like,
sounded
wait,
oh,
why am I
so
not involved?
fast.
And you know, it was a spiritual like orgasm. It was just its most because I asked it to come closer. Of course, not realizing it actually is going to come
Yeah,
closer. Like
yeah,
you're just asking and
yeah,
wishing.
you actually can do
So
that.
crazy stuff like
That's
that.
pretty cool. Okay, I gotta tell you something. This will be fun
Sure.
because you channeled this, but while we were talking, you were, took a back seat. I don't know who you were channeling.
The praying mantis
Okay,
beings.
so is it always the same entity?
Yes, unless yours needs to come in a different form, or unless you ask specifically like with your intention like to like connect to other
I
beings,
see.
but through yeah but through them, because you asked a question earlier which I'll like briefly like touch on. I feel that through them they allow me like the conduit to connect to other energies.
Yeah,
So as I'm connecting, I don't know, to energies within you, it's through the mantises, but I'm also being whatever energy that's coming through.
yeah. That's interesting because you told me about like 7 to 10 separate past lives too, by the way. It was really
Wow.
interesting, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
But there was one question that I had, and you kind of you get very serious, and although you were also saying, "I am really joyful in having the desire to laugh out loud and smile." Like, so it was this really interesting, serious presentation of the inclination to joy.
Yeah.
So your eyes are closed, and so you're presenting in that way. And I'm like, okay, I do have this one question about the day before my son was born. I live in the city of Chicago. There are no praying mantises here. Or at least until that point, I had never seen a praying mantis in the state of Illinois until, you know, 20 like September 14th, 2017, right? So
Sure.
it was the day that I went into labor with my son, and a praying mantis rode on the passenger side windshield of my husband's car in front of me from dropping off my other son at school all the way home. And then I was like, it, unlocking my spirituality at that time. So, of course, I was just like, well, what's the animal totem of this? So, at least I looked it up, but it left a really significant impact on me. I took it off of the car. It rode all the way home on the highway somehow, put it on a bush in front of my house, and then went on to go into labor with Abel hours later. And so, during your channeling, I said, "Hey," and because also I mentioned, I've seen a praying mantis right in my face, a being right in my face during meditation recently, just like sticking his face in my face, and I'm like, okay, there's something up with these guys and me. And so I ask you about it, and you kind of like laugh at me, and you're like, you you know the answer. And and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I do." And and it was really just like the significance of the presence of the praying mantis you confirmed was just like, yes, we're showing you that we are here and we're ushering this other person into this world. And then you went on to talk about like their presence in his life and kind of the the correlation, and it was wild.
Yeah. You took me back a little bit to that moment because I'm feeling a reception right now. I'm feeling many mantis beings opening their arms and welcoming the child
Yeah.
home into this world. And I have chills right now. Look, just so you know. Hold on, where is it? You see?
Yeah.
Like my skin is not that chickeny normally. It's smooth and nice. FYI for your audience. I'm kidding. So I can't wait to re-listen to your message or to like to our channeled recording, because as you know I don't remember, but right now I remember through that it was a trigger. Like we get triggers like
Yeah.
that.
It'll be funny. You'll get to hear me cry and laugh the whole time. It was very beautiful.
Oh, oh.
Okay, so I just wanted to tell you that, and I love the idea that I get to tell you something that you just told me like an hour ago, and you're like, "What?"
Listen, the more that I delve into the world of channeling, the more that I allow myself to go deeper and deeper, the more I have like sessions with clients. Because like when I have sessions with clients, I always tell my clients, you may think I'm giving you a session. What's really happening is I'm using this hoax, elaborate hoax, that I'm separate than you and you need a channeling session with me so I can receive what I need to receive. So through all of the time on stage and all the one-on-ones and like the channeling class like that I do, I'm learning more and more that as much as we think as a humanity, we know what beings
Yeah.
are. They're very a limited version of what our mind can construct of the infinite,
Yes.
you know? But like for some people, like, what do you mean? Like there is no being? Like how, like they want specifics and exacts when in reality they're consciousness. But them specifically, they are coming within the archetype of like the praying mantis beings, like they told me, because perhaps of my specific own connection with them when I was a child, and like maybe it's part of my path. Like why was it praying mantis? It like could have been the same energy, but it could have been like a cockroach or a bear or a wind. I don't know the exact reason why it's like the praying mantis, but what I know is when they come through, they use the limited version of their expandedness so we can comprehend through a limited lens who they are. Because if they really appear in their infiniteness or describe or allow us to experience, it's going to be vast, it's going to be wide. What I've felt through them and experienced through them is this beautiful energy, this alive, conscious like energy that has its hands. That's the best way I can describe it. Has its hands into everything. It's connected to all and is aware of its connection to everything and is doing a million things at once. Yet, as a whole being, it knows of it being one consciousness doing one general theme of exploration. They assist humanity in expansion. A lot of other beings, they've been seen by the Greys a lot, but also when you connect to other beings, you'll see that they're also they oversee all kinds of projects within like the universe. Specifically, they work with the Greys with the hybridization program, which you've heard about, where we as humans have agreed and are co-creating DNA exchange with them so they can create like babies on their planet in a very easy way, that have our DNA to be able to express emotion, feel emotion, etc., etc. But also, it's not only being created with the Greys, being created with a lot of other beings. Because eventually, when humanity rises to, because the answer is unconditional love. What's ascension? When humanity begins loving each other unconditionally, not only each other, the rest. Because listen, if we hate each other and kill each other as humans and we look alike to begin with, like if you see another human, whether you're black, Asian, or whatever, you're still humanoid looking. If we cannot come to an unconditional love of us, how on earth, if some other being that doesn't even resemble you, are you going to give them unconditional love? So until we as humanity experience and be in that unconditional state of love, then the rest of the beings will, wow, that picture just moved. My goodness. It was like, it's like moved in and out of like dimension. So when humanity reaches a level of unconditionality of love to itself, then it opens up a gateway for others to come in. Because once you experience pure unconditional love real, then you cannot but unconditionally love the rest. Because then you've seen yourself as one with like the all. So the hybridization program and the mixture of our DNA with other beings, eventually when the whole world like opens up, where and we are as part of of like the galactic like federation, there are the first introduction, the first wave, if you want to say, of aliens or other beings that will come will have some of our DNA within them, so we can feel like familiar, so we can begin acclimatizing, if that's even a word, acclimating. I make up words, by the way, and I love
Yeah,
it.
sounds great.
Acclimating to their frequency and vibration little by little. So really, the physical mind that is super limited stretches with what it's experiencing. The more that we become comfortable with the unknown, with what looks different than us, the more that we become receptive
Mhm.
to all what's different than, unlike than us. So they're the architects of universes, and you mentioned that word specifically when we first met, which is a very specific word for them. They use color frequencies to create universes. They use light vibration and sound. They are huge on sound. And sound comes in many different ways, not from the the sound that we know. Sound comes in clicking, sound comes in very other ways that we cannot just comprehend yet. So they like utilize abstract concept of creation to create literally universes, galaxies, like star
Mhm.
systems, among other things. They're healers, like they're biogeneticists, like they're known to because their hands are interconnected to everything. They can switch genes, assist, adjust, alter, heal, add, upgrade, um, like DNA structures and light DNA. We think of DNA as just a physical one. We also have light DNA that's within like the cosmos. So they're immense beings. They're not just an insectoid physical, and the beings that I connect with are light beings. They're not like physical,
Yeah.
but there are other species that are physical.
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so if someone wanted to intentionally connect with a mantis being,
Yeah,
what would you say?
we are all already connected. There really is no like 12-step program to connect or 12 steps to connect. That's an old paradigm of us being so
Yeah.
disempowered. It's really about your own knowingness that you are already all of it. That I am the praying mantis that I say I am channeling. I am the wind that I feel on my skin. I am the sun that I see in the sky. I am Musuki that I'm speaking separate. When you get to that understanding, not fully, even on like a very like surface level, that we are all one,
Mhm.
then the connection becomes easier. Because the more that you believe you're separate than yourself, then you're always going to have a challenge to connect,
Yeah.
because you're saying I'm separate and I have to create some invisible, I don't know, like tethering. And really like the tethering or the connection to connect with them is remembering that they are you to begin with. It's you talking to you. But speaking in a 3D way, um, like there are ways. I mean, it's called channeling. If you want to channel them, if you want to speak with them like that way, intention plays a big role, because intention is energy, it's vibration, it's frequency. Like before you go to bed, say out loud or in your heart, I'm ready to connect. Come to me in whichever way. But the trick there is, don't restrict the what you think is gonna come, how it's gonna come, with an expectation.
Yeah.
That's the trick, because you're choking. That's a new word I've been using recently through the menses. You're choking the universe. The universe is vast and open. And if you ask it to bring a praying mantis to you to connect, it's going to bring in the easiest, more effortless way for you. But if you tell the universe, I'm going to choke that information and just, you have to, like, this is the space that I'm giving you to bring me the mantis, well, you're restricting the universe.
Yeah.
So allow it to be open and keep your mind open on how communication comes. We're so taught and ingrained. I hear things, I see things, I feel things. There are many other senses we have. There's knowingness, there's like synchronicities. You could be driving down the street and see a truck that has a praying mantis like logo on it, like an insect, and you may not think anything of it. That's a message. You may have a memory. A song may pop up called Mantis something. I don't know. Like there's always messages that come through that we're not trained to see, because we have boxed ourselves that I see things through my eyes, or it has to look this. You know what I mean? We're restricted. We like limited.
Yeah.
So we're all channels, guys. We're all gods. We're all divine.
Yes, but said um, from the mouth of someone who has had like the most rapid spiritual expansion I've ever heard of. I believe you, Tony. That's awesome. Okay, so when you have we should probably pack it up
Sure.
soon, but when you do calls with people or channel for people. Do you often access past lives or concurrent lives as mantis beings or no?
No, no, not too many people. So it's you're the only person that has asked this question up to this point. No, when people like reach out to the mantis beings, they're not oftentimes like reaching out to know if they're connected to
Yeah.
them, if they're like if they're like as like part of the like lineage. And I've had some people that have asked that question specifically, and the answer was no.
Yeah.
The answer was you've lived with them, you were like another being, and you co-created with them, but you're not part of the lineage. But you specifically, now that you asked that question, I don't know if that came up. I feel like you were part of them. Did they say that?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So like not okay. So see, I feel it like you were, and no,
Is
like
it because
not
I keep
everybody.
doing this?
I don't. Yeah, are you doing that
I'm
right now?
just
Wait.
kidding.
Oh, okay. I know, right? This is my dance when I dance.
Doing like
It's so fun.
mantis
Like,
hands.
totally. But no, it's no, and depending on the information, it's not always about past life. Like what comes through is very
Yeah,
random
totally.
from my perspective. But no, you have a very you were them. You are them.
Very interesting.
No, no, yeah.
Okay.
And like people don't get disappointed when they hear that they're not them, because really you're all of it. In reality, we're all of it. You're a mantis, you're a Pleiadian, we're all.
Yeah.
But what's the focus this lifetime? What's like the relevancy of you knowing that they are your family on that level?
Yeah.
It will bring you information. And when I've like when I have told like other people they're not mantis, but they've co-created and lived and they were part of the family unit, but there were other beings, that also gave them, a lot of comfort that they worked with them, right? Um, and when you accept that, it opens up, it reveals more to you. If you're disappointed by that information, it closes up.
Yeah.
That's how we create, right? Because really, if you ask me the question one more time, who are you? I mean, you're welcome to ask. I'm not saying don't ask me one more time. But if you ask it again, I know I'm all of it.
Yeah.
I'm you, I'm me, I'm the river, I'm all of it. I'm all of it. There's no I am only the mantis. But my connection in this lifetime, in this year, in this now moment, is that path, because there are things to be revealed to me through that visceral, focused attention to that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful, and you are definitely utilizing it to share lots of love, and that's evident. So, I think before recently, I probably would have assumed that the mantis beings that I've heard about were just kind of like, you know, stern, weird, like interdimensional beings. But what?
No, continue your thought, because I just remembered something. Continue. I
Oh,
want you to
okay.
finish your thought.
He's gasping, so I'm like, what did I say? Um, but now it's just expanded to understand that they can just exude like this beautiful, loving, very complex energy.
Totally. So, like for your audience, let me give you my quick image of I wasn't gasping. Both of my, I was gasping, but both of my hands are on my mouth, like shutting myself up because I wanted to scream. What I didn't realize and didn't share with you is praying mantises are
Oh,
hilarious.
really?
They are the funniest beings ever.
Oh,
But now that I didn't connect to you laughing
yeah.
so hard from your gut.
That's so funny.
And one little joke for your audience. My husband thinks I'm not funny. Thanks, Greg. When I tell him a joke, I'm literally laughing in my head. Like I am on the floor, legs up, hands up, laughing hysterically. And when he says, "You're not funny," I say, "Okay, honey, it's okay. I'm laughing in my mind." I forget at times that the praying mantises are a lot of people that connect with them. They're funny as hell.
Yeah.
So if you have a sense of humor, if that whole like guttural laugh I experienced from you earlier is, I didn't even connect it with them. Duh,
Yeah.
of course.
That's
Like no
so
doubt,
funny.
no doubt.
Wow. All right. Well,
Yeah.
look out for mantis vibes, everybody. Thank you so much, Tony. That was really fun. And I'll look forward to meeting you in person at the Conscious Life Expo.
Yes, thank you, Suki, for opening your heart. Thank you for listening to the calling. Thank you for your audience to be yourselves. And do not forget, ever, 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 you are not alone. You always have your guides. You always have angels, all kinds of labels of energies that are with you. You are always interconnected. You are channels. You have access to all the wisdom, to all the love, to all the knowledge within your hearts. That's all I'm going to say for now.
Thank you, Toni.
Thank you, honey. Bye, sweetheart.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as we did. Be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss a new episode. If you liked today's episode, please consider leaving a review to help the other psychics find their way here.